We are depopulationists. We are depopulationists, and we are going to save the planet with depopulationism. We are all depopulationists, and we're all going to save the planet with depopulationism. My name is Webster Baer, and I am in Lincoln City, Oregon, USA, and today is July 20th, 2021, and my website is Global Internet Government. And I want to talk to you about a few things, mainly depopulationism. I'm a depopulationist, and I think everybody is a depopulationist, and I'm going to try to convince everyone that they're a depopulationist. And that's what I've been doing for the last 36 years. Because that's what I like doing. It's a lot of fun. So, depopulationism is an idea that was created by the Chinese government in 1980, and it's the one woman, one child policy. And basically, depopulationists like us want to create a significant and sustained and immediate decline in the human population on Earth. And we want to do that legally and peacefully and democratically. Depopulationists think that it's illegal and immoral for anyone to reproduce a second time on planet Earth in this century. And what we're trying to do is create a decline in the number of people on the planet until that reaches a sustainable level, which is a number for future generations to determine, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's around 2 or 3 billion people. And so that's depopulationism. Okay, human beings don't have the right to kill the planet, and human beings don't have the right to threaten the environment, but that's what we're doing because we're not that intelligent. But we can get more intelligent, hopefully, quickly, and then turn it around. Because the number of people on the planet is increasing, and that's the wrong direction. That's a suicide course. Because it's a biological issue. Human overpopulation has caused a lot of deforestation, and then in the future, when we want to breathe oxygen, there won't be enough trees to make enough oxygen for us to breathe, and we'll all suffocate. So that's depopulationism. It's logical environmentalism. It's common sense. There's enough people on the planet, and that means we don't need to make any more. And in fact, there's too many people on the planet, which means we shouldn't make any more. So the only rational and fair way to save the planet is to limit everybody to one kid or 0 kids. And like I said, I've been saying this for 36 years, so I'm now able to say it in a calm, polite way, and in a simple way. Depopulationism is the latest development in the evolution of civilization. Depopulationists are the latest development in the evolution of the human being becoming an enlightened entity as an individual. And depopulationism is the latest development in countries being, civilized and sophisticated and good. So that's depopulationism. And that's what we need to do as a species in order to continue to survive on this planet. And so that's depopulationism. And I'm a depopulationist, and I think everybody's a depopulationist, because I think everybody wants to save the planet. And I think everybody is capable of rational, logical thought and common sense and reason. And so depopulationism is the goal. And so how do we achieve the goal? How do we achieve depopulationism? Well, in order to achieve depopulationism, I created global internet government in the year 2000 in Portland, Oregon. I call it GIG, G-I-G, Global Internet Government. And GIG is a world government. GIG is the world government. And GIG is going to unite everybody on the planet politically and economically. And GIG is going to unite everybody on the planet politically with freedom and equality and reproductive rights. And reproductive rights means that every person on Earth has the right to total and free access to all forms of birth control, including abortion. And any government that does not support this 100% is an illegitimate government, and illegitimate governments will be replaced quickly and peacefully by legitimate governments. So that's how GIG's going to unite the world politically, with freedom and equality and democracy and reproductive rights. GIG's going to unite the world economically with transparency and balanced budget amendments and trade agreements. And GIG is going to monitor every financial transaction by every government on the planet. GIG is going to make sure that every financial transaction by every government on the planet is put online immediately for the public to see, and that way everybody everywhere can see where all the money's going and who's getting it and how much they're getting and what they're doing with it, etc., etc., etc. And so that's how GIG is going to unite the world economically. So GIG is going to be a platform for all human beings to participate in and contribute to this new world government. gig is a foundation for all human beings to be part of this world government and to be able to understand what this world government is doing and why. And gig is a depopulationist world government, and so gig is going to make depopulationism the law for the planet, and that's what gig's gonna do. And any country can become part of gig and enter gig if they agree to the terms and they elect to do that. And any country can leave gig if they elect to leave. So countries can come in and out of gig as they choose. If a country wants to be part of gig, it has to agree to the terms, and it has to have an election, and the majority of people have to vote yes if we want to be in gig. And the terms are, number one, it has to be depopulationism, has to be in the Constitution, and no one can reproduce a second time in that country. And number two, it has to have total freedom of speech for everybody online and offline. And number three, that country has to have less than 3% inflation for 3 consecutive years in a row. And there's a few other smaller rules as well, but those are the big three, and the big one is depopulationism. And so that's gig. So depopulationism is what we have to do in order to survive as human beings on planet Earth in this century. And gig is how we're going to go ahead and do it. And so now I want to talk about myself. My name's Charles Webster Baer. I'm 52 years old. I live in Redmond, Oregon. I was born and raised in Santa Cruz, California. I went to high school in Newport, Rhode Island. I went to college on the Big Island of Hawaii. And in 1999 in Portland, Oregon, I moved to Portland, Oregon in 1999. And in the year 2000, I created Global Internet Government. And in the year 2007, I moved to Bend, Oregon. And in the year 2014, I moved to China for 3 years. And then in the year 2019, I created Fog Bank, and I moved to Redmond, Oregon. And I don't have any kids. I've never been married. I'm single. I'm straight. And I'm an atheist because I don't believe in God. And I'm an agnostic because I think everybody's an agnostic. And I'm a Buddhist because, in my opinion, that's the correct philosophy for me. And what Buddha said is, quote, if the universe does not exist, then you are the soul, unquote. So I think that was a correct statement. You might want to take some time to think about that. It's just one sentence, but it's self-explanatory, and it's kind of an interesting idea. So I'm a depopulationist and I'm a libertarian, and a libertarian means that I'm for more freedom and less government. So a libertarian is someone who is fiscally conservative and socially liberal. So a libertarian is somebody who, if it has to do with money, they're on the right, and if it doesn't have to do with money, they're on the left. So I'm running for mayor of Redmond, Oregon in 2022, and I'm running for president of the United States of America in 24 and 28. So please vote for me. Please vote for Charles Baer. And thank you very much. So that's me. And now I want to talk about FogBank. FogBank's my cyber currency that I created in 2019. And FogBank FogBank has a unit of currency called the FogBuck, F-O-G-B-U-K. And plural is FogBucks, F-O-G-B-U-X. And the value of a FogBuck is 0. And anybody, anywhere, can buy as many FogBucks they want for 1 penny each. And hopefully at some point in time the value of a FogBuck will increase, and if that occurs, then the value of a FogBuck will fluctuate. And it's the nature of all currencies, especially cyber currencies and cryptocurrencies, to fluctuate and go up and down. So anybody can buy as many FogBucks as they want for 1 penny each. And hopefully the value of a FogBuck increases. It can't decrease because it's currently at 0, and FogBank doesn't do debt or loans. There's also something called a FogBic, F-O-G-B-I-K, and plural is FogBics, F-O-G-B-I-X. And a FogBic has the exact same value as a FogBuck, always and forever. They're always identical value, FogBic and FogBuck. However, a FogBuck is something that someone purchases from FogBank for 1 cent, and then they can hang on to that forever or give it away or spend it. A FogBic is something that FogBank gives to you. And I'm giving 10,000 FogBics away to everyone right now. You're welcome. However, FogBank reserves the right to terminate and delete any FogBic at any time for any reason, including no reason at all. And every FogBuck has a unique FogBuck identification number, and every FogBic has a unique FogBic identification number, and every FogBank user has a unique FogBank user identification number, and every FogBank transaction has a unique FogBank transaction identification number. So FogBank is 100% transparent. Everybody everywhere can see where all the currency is all the time, and the entire history of that currency, including currency that's been deleted. So FogBank is 100% transparent. FogBank is the only cryptocurrency that is 100% transparent. Everybody everywhere can see where all the currency is anytime, plus the entire history of that currency, including currency that's been deleted. So FogBank is the only currency that's 100% transparent. And that makes FogBank the best currency. It makes FogBank the cleanest currency. It makes FogBank the most modern currency, the most civilized currency. And FogBank's also the most fair currency because there's a limit to how much FogBucks you can have, both up and down. There's a ceiling and a floor. The ceiling is if you have $1 trillion American dollars worth of FogBucks and you want to buy more, you can't buy more. That's the ceiling. And the floor is if you have 0 FogBics, then you'll get 10 FogBics a week for as long as you have less than 10 FogBics. So there's a ceiling and a floor, and we're going to lower the ceiling and we're going to raise the floor. And so we're going to shrink the gap between rich and poor. And so not only is Fog Bank the best currency because it's the cleanest, it's also the fairest. So Fog Bank is going to basically eat all the money in the universe and become the only currency there is because it's the best. People can still use other currencies, but they're going to choose not to because it doesn't make any sense. So that's Fog Bank. And this is a muscle. Okay, so let's review, shall we? Depopulationism. One woman, one child. Depopulationism. I am a depopulationist. We are depopulationists. Everyone's a depopulationist. We're going to save the world with depopulationism. Right now. Depopulationism means no human being is allowed to reproduce a second time on planet Earth in this century. That's how we're going to save the planet. We're going to save the planet by reducing the number of people on the planet. We're going to go from 7 billion to 6 billion. We're not going to go from 7 billion to 8 billion. We're going to go from 7 billion to 6 billion. And then we're going to keep going down. And then we'll stop the deforestation of the planet. And then in the future, when people want to breathe oxygen, they'll be able to do that because there'll be enough trees to create enough oxygen for people to breathe. That's depopulationism. It's the only fair and rational way to save the earth. It's the only civilized thing to do. It's the only intelligent thing to do. And it's what we're all going to do. And we're going to do it with global internet government. Global internet government is going to advance the depopulationist agenda by uniting everybody on the planet politically and economically with freedom and transparency. This is another muscle. I'm just like picking these things off the rock. I don't know why. Okay, so depopulationism, that's what we are, and that's how we're going to save the earth. Global internet government, that's how we're going to do it. Me, I'm Charles Webster Baer. I'm the owner and founder and president of Gig and Fog Bank. And I'm also created something called the Capital. And the Capitol is basically like the United States House of Representatives for the entire planet Earth. And every nation on the planet gets one representative, and every nation on the planet gets one representative for every 10 million citizens of that country. So there'll be like 800 representatives in the assembly. America will have like 35. England will have like 8. China and India will have like 140, but every country will have one. And the people of that country will vote to elect these representatives. And if the people of that country can't vote to elect those representatives, then I'll personally appoint those representatives for that country until the people of that country are able to democratically elect their representatives. And the elections will happen starting in 25, and they'll happen every 5 years. And these representatives will be the these representatives will make up the assembly, which will be the Capitol, which will be the democratically elected world government. which will pass laws, and I own and run Gig, and I own and run FogBank, and they're totally separate entities. However, eventually I'm going to retire, and when that happens, I'm going to combine Gig and FogBank into one entity called the Capital, and that'll be an international nonprofit, and that'll be run by a democratically elected world government, and it's called the Capital. Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? I just came up with that like a couple months ago. So that's the Capital. So we talked about depopulationism, and that's what we got to do as human beings to not kill Earth, to save the Earth, and to stay alive on the planet. Depopulationism. We're all depopulationists because we all want to save the Earth. And depopulationism means it's illegal and immoral for anybody to reproduce a second time on the planet Earth in this century, and probably in the next century. And that's depopulationism. That's the goal that we're going to achieve together. And we're going to achieve it with global internet government, because that's the world government that's going to unite us all together with depopulationism. And we talked about me. Please vote for me for President of the United States in 24 and 28. And please vote for me for Mayor of Redmond, Oregon, USA in 22. I'm a depopulationist first and a libertarian second. And we talked about the Capital, and we talked about FogBank. So FogBank is going to be the main currency for the planet, and the Capital is going to be what happens when I retire and I combine FogBank and Gig together. But I'm not going to retire for a couple decades, and that means FogBank and Gig are going to stay totally separate for a couple decades until I retire. Here's another muscle. Okay, so does everybody understand everything? I hope so. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you got it. If you didn't get it, you can watch it again, or you can watch my other videos where I pretty much say the same thing. And, you know, I encourage everyone to make their own videos where they talk about these subjects. And I encourage everyone to, you know, make videos where you talk about your own opinions on these topics. And I encourage everyone to vote for depopulationists. And I encourage everyone to run for political office as a depopulationist. And I encourage everybody to get up and get politically motivated and get environmentally motivated and to get politically active and to get environmentally active. And I encourage everybody to stand up for what they think is important. I encourage everybody to help save the planet right now. And I encourage everybody to, you know, start making some noise. Start getting rowdy. Start getting silly. You know, get pissed off. Stand up. Start kicking up some dust. You know, we're way behind schedule. It's on us. So let's go. You know, I encourage everyone to start, you know, let's fucking do it, man. Let's do this already. I've been babbling on endlessly about this bullshit for 36 fucking years. It's fucking time we start going, man. You know, it's time we start fucking actually doing this shit. So, my name is Charles Webster Baer. My website is globalinternetgovernment.com. I'm going to go drink a couple beers. And adios. Peace. Love.